Hey everybody, Steve Prziborowski here. Welcome to episode 62 of Reach for the Firefighter Badge. We're going to continue talking about oral interviews, and hopefully this tip will help raise your oral board scores, because 70s, 70 percentile scores, don't get you the badge. 80s and 90s get you the badge. So episode 62 is going to discuss fire department oral interview preparation tips. This specific tip will be titled, Don't Just Answer the Question. Answer the question, uppercase, not shouting at you, just emphasizing things. So let's get going. All right, as a reminder, my two websites, code3firetrain.com as well as chabotfire.com, have lots of great free information on there to help you be the best that you can be in your pursuit of the badge. Also my website, a couple of the firefighter preparation books that I've had published are available. Both of them are distinctively different yet complementary to help you be the best candidate that you can be. Check them out when you get a chance. All right. By now, if you've listened to me ad nauseum talk about the hiring process and the oral interview, you realized in most departments it's 100% of your final score. Yes, 100% of your score. So if you're not a good public speaker, if you don't like getting in front of others and talking about yourself, you're not going to do well. Thus, you'll probably not get hired. So given that, sadly, most oral board candidates don't spend quality time preparing for this important process. They'll prepare for the physical ability test by working out, usually, doing what they can to get through that, but they don't take the time to focus on the oral interview. So I'm taking a lot of time to try to discuss a lot of different oral interview preparation tips. And this is one tip that I think can benefit you if you use it correctly. So let's take a look a little bit more about this topic. If you want to learn a little bit more about this topic, this is based on an article that I had published that I wrote, published by Firehouse Magazine on December 6, 2017. If you go to firehouse.com, you can type in Prziborowski and it should come up along with many of the other articles I've written that they've published, but it's titled specifically Oral Interview Tip 1, Don't Just Answer the Question, Answer the Question method. So here we go. So a common question you may get is, so Steve, tell us what your greatest strength is. I mean, a very common oral board question. Well, the typical oral board response by most candidates would be to say something like a one-word answer or two-word answer. Most candidates would usually, I'm loyal, or I'm motivated, or I'm a hard worker, or I'm passionate, or I'm dedicated, or I'm customer service oriented. Okay, none of those answers are failing, none of them are wrong, none of them are bad. But the problem is, if you're the first person saying you're motivated, okay, but when you're the 10th person, the 20th person saying motivated, because remember, this oral board is interviewing probably 50, 100, or even a couple hundred candidates over the course of maybe a couple of weeks. And again, if you're the first candidate saying something, probably no big deal. By the time the end of the week comes, they're on their 180th candidate, and it's the 23rd person that says, I'm motivated. They're asleep. They're already done with you. So they won't fail you based on that, but it just doesn't stand out. So that's a 70% answer saying one of those words. So there's nothing wrong with any of those words. And a lot of people sometimes say, well, what is the best answer? Well, there is no best answer. There are no secret answers to this stuff. The answers that are the best are the ones that come from your heart, that you can passionately convey in a unique, personalized manner. So let's do this. So instead of just saying motivated, hard work, dependable, whatever, let me use the word dependable. So that's the typical response. Now, my suggested response, meaning don't just answer the question would be something like this. Instead of just giving a one sentence or couple sentence answer, I'm going to phrase it this way. I'm going to phrase it as, well, while I have many great strengths, let me focus on my number one greatest strength, which is dependability. So in one sentence, I've repeated back the question. I've also told them that I've had a number of greatest strengths. And in the next episode, number 63, we're going to discuss this concept a little bit more, because you see the way I'm answering this question is actually also using the introduction body conclusion method. A sentence for the introduction to read back the, state back the question, sort of give a preview, get into my body, my outline, and then conclude it, intro, body, conclusion. But like I said, we'll talk about that in episode 63, but bear with me here. So Steve, tell us what your greatest strength is. while I have many great strengths, let me focus on my number one strength, which I think is dependability. So in one sentence, now I'm going to talk about that, my body or my outline. So while I do believe I have many greatest strengths, I believe dependability is my number one strength. Here's why. I've been employed by whatever, Safeway supermarkets for the last 10 years, and I have not called in sick at all. I understand the importance of keeping myself healthy, taking care of myself. Obviously, I won't go to work if I'm actually sick, but I've been very fortunate that I haven't been sick in that time frame to a point where I've needed to call in sick. So 10 years not calling in sick, I hope that demonstrates my dependability. And even more importantly, it's critical for a firefighter to be dependable, because you think about it, who is depending on you as a firefighter? Everybody, the public that we're fortunate to serve, my crew, my company officer, my shift, the entire department, the fire chief that took a chance on me, everyone's expecting me to be dependable. So now I'm segueing to my closing, my conclusion. So hopefully over the last minute or so, I've been able to demonstrate how dependability is my greatest strength and why I think it is important for a firefighter to be dependable. Thank you. So in that short time frame, instead of just saying I'm dependable, which most candidates would do, what I've done is I've answered the question without a doubt, but more importantly, I've backed it up and I've supported it with an answer that states a fact, something from my background, my experience that's probably unique from the next person. Then I also took the time to tie it into the position I'm applying for. Think about it, whether you use loyal, dedicated, motivated, inspired, ethical, whatever it is, each one of those, you better be able to back up with a fact. And more importantly, you should be able to tie any of those into the position you're applying for. So doing these things will help get that score from a 70% barely passing, maybe up into the 80s, maybe up into the 90s, especially if you can articulate things well and keep them engaged. And then when we get to the next episode, number 63, I'll touch on intro, body, conclusion a little more, because that'll help provide a more packaged response to an answer. So using this technique can allow you to basically take a normal clone answer and turn it into a solid, detailed, and focused answer that the oral board can easily follow along with. Doesn't take a lot of practice. You know, if you know yourself very well and you're able to basically communicate, it shouldn't be an issue. It does take some practice. More importantly, it'll make your clone answer stand out. So as always, thank you very much for the gift of your time. Please don't hesitate to reach out if I can ever be of assistance. So with that, until the next episode, be safe, take care, and we'll see you soon.